What's up, Browns fans? This is Andrew Jackson from Louisville, Kentucky. You're listening to the Dawgs podcast.
Welcome to the Dawgs podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, John Nye, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs podcast presented by Omaha Steaks. Make sure you check out omahasteaks.com. Use promo code DAWGS. Get yourself some good meats for this nice weather we're getting. The weather's getting nice. You're going to be outside grilling. Make sure you check out Omaha Steaks. If you want to get your intros on the show, head to thedawgspodcast.com. Tap leave voicemail on the drop-down menu. Today, we're just going to get into a bunch of player news. Kind of a lot happened in the last few days, Browns-related in terms of players on the team, players that have been released around the league that the Browns could be interested in. So we're going to get into all that. Before we do, though, remember to check us out on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Again, tap that notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content that we're putting out. We're putting out a lot more content. You don't want to miss any of it. If you prefer to just listen to shows, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Lastly, if you're looking for more Dawgs content, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page, extra episodes, access to the private Discord. You get to be friends with us. You get to play fantasy football once football season rolls around. I think we have 4 leagues this year. We gave out prizes for all 4 leagues, plus a grand champion. We gave out prizes too. So that was a ton of fun. It'd be cool to get even more leagues. So if you guys have friends that you want to play fantasy football with us, make sure they check that out, the Patreon now. And then the newest thing that we're kind of doing right now is these YouTube members. So for 99 cents a month, you can become a YouTube member on the Dog Pack here. You get special emojis that Josh has created. The more people we add, the more emojis we can create. You can level up. It's only 99 cents a month, and that helps us out a ton, helps us get more equipment, all kinds of stuff that help keep making the show better. So if you're liking what we're doing and you want to support the show, even something as little as 99 cents a month helps us out a ton. So help us out with doing that. We would very much appreciate it. And with that said, let's dive into this episode. There's a lot of stuff to get into. Unfortunately, the first thing we want to talk about today is player news with the Browns. It just broke midday today. Perrion Winfrey, was he arrested, or how does it work? So was he arrested, or is he just charges were brought up?
He was arrested.
Charged and arrested and made bail.
So this, I know, with domestic violence, hit his girlfriend, right?
So yeah, from what I read, it said that he grabbed her and caused bodily injury last night. So that misdemeanor assault.
Okay, so this is one of those. I guess you want to hear the details, how bad it really was, because I mean, even if he just grabbed her aggressively, the misdemeanor tells you that it's not like he was wailing on her, but in my opinion, you just don't put your hands on a female like that. So that's one of those things where, I mean, I don't know, with the problems he's had already in his career, I haven't heard this kind of talk, but like, is this put him in jeopardy? Do the Browns cut ties?
I mean, I'll start it. I think that, like, the way that they've added depth this year, I'm not saying that he's expendable, but I don't think it helps. You know what I mean? I don't think that we have a new policy for suspensions and everything now. So I think once everything's said and done, there's probably going to be some games suspended. There's probably going to be a fine from the NFL. I mean, there's a chance. I'd hope that, we'd wait and see what happens. The investigation gets done, all that stuff, just so we can see. And so the Browns and the NFL can see exactly what happened, not just jump and just automatically make a cut. But, I mean, it doesn't look good. It was just, from what I read in the article, they got into a fight over a dog and some car keys. And the girl said that, this wasn't the first time that it's gotten physical. They had to be broken up. So who knows what it could have escalated to. But none of us were there. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to just say all that. But I think it's interesting also, the same thing that he got charged for, Devontae Adams just got charged for that when he pushed the cameraman. So, I mean, like,
Yeah, so it's a wide range of, again, he could, it's just one of those things. It's just like he just keeps finding himself in trouble. You know what I mean? It's just like, guess I've never had that charge brought against me. It's not hard to not have a misdemeanor charge brought against you. Like, you can just not be an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, it's not hard to not get arrested. A lot of people go their whole lives with never being arrested. I think like 2 of the 4 members on this podcast have never been arrested.
Take your guess. Take your guess who they are.
Yeah. So, but what I'm just saying is, it's just keep your head up. We had high hopes for this guy, and it seemed like he was starting to get it going a little bit last year. And then we're halfway through the offseason, this kind of problem. What do you guys think, Josh and John?
I actually read a couple minutes ago that the Browns are just waiting to get more details on the case before they make any kind of decisions moving forward. So it's going to be tough to say what the Browns are going to do until we all know a little bit more about the situation. It doesn't sound good. And no matter how bad something sounds when the report comes out, details always end up mattering. So we'll just kind of see, how it plays out. As far as cutting ties with him, that would suck for him. And I was really looking forward to seeing, how he progressed. But this just isn't the kind of thing we want to hear about in Cleveland. We've got enough issues. Pretty much everyone hates us now that we got Deshaun Watson. And, we just don't need any more drama.
I completely agree. Like, I'm happy they're waiting to get more details, because I'm not one of these people who likes to find guilty, before you get all the information. But this is one of those things where, like you said, we just don't need it. And I don't want the kind of drama around the team like that. Like, we don't need any more of that. If it comes to light, like he did what they're charging him with, and if he really did do harm to her, and it really has happened before, like, just get rid of the guy. Just get rid of him. What do you think, Josh?
I think it really sucks. I mean, he was a 4th-round pick last year. We had high hopes for him. He was one of those players that, some of those scouts had him up in the 2nd round, or, up in that area as far as talent goes, but his off the field crap, his behavior, the Browns had to discipline him, it says, at least twice, by the team last year for his behavior. Like you said, Blake, we saw him come on in the second half of the season, and he started to show promise and flash, and we thought, okay, if this guy can get it together, get himself under control, focus on his job, he could really be something at a position of serious need for the Browns. And then this happens. It's so disappointing.
I was looking forward to seeing how he could play next to Tomlinson this year.
Yeah.
He got with like a big guy next to him, to eat up some blocks. I was looking forward to seeing how that helped Perrion's game. And just, who knows? He might be on the team, but best case scenario, he's going to be suspended probably, at least a couple games. And we learned that anything domestic violence, isn't that minimum 6 games?
So I was doing some research on that, man, and I believe that it was the old policy. I think that everything is almost like the Deshaun Watson kind of deal, because the old policy was assault, battery, domestic violence, theft. There was a few of them. Automatically 6 games. Like, right before you got on, we said, remember, Zeke got suspended 6 games over domestic violence. So I don't know exactly what the policy is. I don't know if every case is reviewed. We said with Alvin Kamara, we're like, I think they're waiting for all that to tie up. Same thing with Devontae Adams, and obviously this is going to probably go to court, and then I think they are going to wait for everything to be resolved, through court system and all that, and then a decision should be made. But I don't know, just disappointing. Like, it's a maturity thing. I hate to say that, you know what I mean? Because he's got a great opportunity, and you read things like from Perrion saying, and he had the worst year of his life last year. He did just put out a big article about it, and stuff. And it's just like couldn't make it to practice, got not suspended, but benched, I guess. And then the off field things now, it's just kind of feels like a snowball.
Yep, I think this probably puts D tackle. I think it's on the board still for the draft for sure. But yep, we'll see what happens with Perrion. I'm kind of done hoping he gets his act together. At this point, I don't know if it's going to happen. So this is one of those things where I'm just prepared to just unless it comes out like it's way blown out of proportion and it was very minuscule. But from the sounds of it, this has happened more than once. And just see you later.
He's 22 years old. You think about that. This is a kid basically still. I mean, he's only 4 years into, whatever, legal adulthood. I mean, just for him as a person, I hope he gets his act together because he's not going down a very good path.
He can do it on Last Chance U. He doesn't have to do it on the Browns. But all right, well, then we'll move on to, I guess it's a different kind of somber news, but still somber in my opinion. Came out this late last week that the Browns don't have any interest in bringing Kareem Hunt back. I don't even think they want to bring him back, even if it's a team-friendly deal. I think they're pretty much ready to part ways with him. I guess you're hearing the team kind of feels that he's lost speed. I feel like we talked about this last year. It seemed he just couldn't. He was so good at running that stretch play that just off the tackle, and he could get the edge and then get north and south real quick. And it seemed like last year he just couldn't get the edge. And I felt like last year the gap between Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb was the most notable it's ever been. I felt like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there were times where you were like, Kareem Hunt could be the starter on this team or whatever. And last year it was like, no, Nick Chubb is head and shoulders better than this guy. And it's not just Nick Chubb continuing to get better, but it's Kareem Hunt appearing to be a little bit on the decline. It's sad because I like Kareem Hunt's one of these guys who he had the image problem and we gave him a second chance. And I feel like he's clean. He's kept his nose clean. He's been a good citizen. He's been a good teammate. But man, it's just, he didn't look like Kareem Hunt last year. And it seems like the team doesn't think he still has it.
I mean, their usage of him last year showed that they don't think he has it. I mean, I was just looking at his stats, and in 2020, his yards per game, 52.6, 2021, 48.3. Last year, 27.5. So they were not utilizing him. I mean, not even half the amount, really.
So, what do you think, John? Do you think Kareem's washed, or do you think he revitalized his career somewhere else?
Man, he's definitely slowed down. I don't necessarily think he's done, but yeah, I think his best days are behind him. 27 years old now. Running backs, careers don't usually last that long anyway. So, man, I think the Browns honestly just made the right decision. It's not easy, but I think we're going in a different direction. We need some young guys. We're going to bring some young guys in. And, I think it was just kind of bound to happen. Now, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you guys surprised because he's 27. I know 30 is like the cutoff, but 27 is still kind of like your prime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would say like you're 24, 25, 26, 20. Like, those are your good years. And are you surprised that he just all of a sudden fell off, especially considering he had, the time off from when he was suspended. And then he comes to Cleveland and it's not like he's getting 30 carries a game. His workload's been super limited in Cleveland. You'd think it was going to elongate his career or prolong his career. And to see a drop off like that, are you guys surprised?
Like, I'm not suggesting. I mean, last year there was all the trade speculation, wanted to be traded and cut and anything. I'm not saying that he shut himself down, because I think that at the end of the day, he's a dog. You know what I mean? Like, people bought into him. Browns are still the Browns. Like, he's iconic as far as like the revitalization of Cleveland. You know what I mean? As far as the Browns, he was part of that heartbeat as us. We were taking that step forward. We felt like but for sure, I'm not sure what exactly happened. He definitely didn't look like even Kareem of 2020. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a major regression last year. So it's just surprising. Because it's like, for what John said, I think he's still at an age where you can be productive. Like, some of the best backs in the league, you have like Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, they're still doing it. And they're older than him. You know what I mean? So just surprising. I'm not saying he shut himself down, but
it kind of feels that way. To me, it makes more sense that he just didn't have the motor we're used to seeing out of him than all of a sudden he fell off that much. It just doesn't make sense for him to fall off that much overnight when it's not like we've been wearing him down. He wasn't getting Zeke Elliott touches for the last 3 years. Right. You know what I mean? It's like he's getting 10 touches a game. He should be fresh. He was gearing up for to get one last big running back contract.
Right.
And now all of a sudden it's so I don't know. What do you think, Josh? I know you're huge on if you're within a sniff of 30, you should just go home and sit in a rocking chair.
If you're a running back and you're within a sniff of 30, yeah, you probably should go get in that rocking chair. I don't know. I think that, everybody's bodies react differently to age. I know that Todd Gurley had the serious knee injuries and stuff like that, but you saw him he was productive, done at 25. You know what I mean? And
yeah, but we saw that coming because of those knees. Kareem is healthy and he's
right, but
fresh.
I guess what I'm saying is, even though we think he should be fresh and he seems to be healthy, it's not to say that he just doesn't have that extra gear anymore. And it just happens. I don't know when my extra gear fell off, but it did. You know what I mean? It just...
Oh, yeah. Mine too, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah. So, Blake, you did bring up, though, and this is important. It's not even something I was thinking about. Zeke is 27 as well, and Nick Chubb's 27. But Zeke got way more touches. So
way more.
Kareem Hunt was suspended as well, and extremely limited in the Browns offense because Nick Chubb's our number one. So you're right. He should be a lot more fresh, which kind of makes me wonder, maybe he will go somewhere and play well the next year or two. So I just will wait and see.
I could see him going somewhere kind of cheap because of the year he had last year, and then way out playing that contract. Mm-hmm. If he goes somewhere, maybe
Buffalo.
Some of the
Buffalo. Yeah, I wanted to say Buffalo.
Or the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something like that. I could see him, maybe get a 1-year deal. If he's smart, I think you could take a 1-year deal somewhere like that and kind of go off and then try to get one last 2-year deal, for when he's 28, 29, one decent deal for himself before he hits 30 and nobody wants him anymore. So yeah, it's sad to see him go, but I was kind of surprised to see the drop off last year, kind of out of the blue. So then we'll kind of transition that. There's a running back on the market I don't know if anybody from the Browns have I don't know if he's officially linked to the Browns at all, but there's been some speculation that the Browns could be interested in Jerick McKinnon. How do you guys think he fits on the team?
Now, I'm going to go ahead and start this because it's contradictory to what I just said, but I think he fits. He's 30. But this is a guy who just last year with the Chiefs, I think he have over 500 receiving yards, I believe?
512 receiving yards, yep.
Okay.
Touchdowns.
The guy was like a wide receiver out of the backfield, which is, kind of something we saw with Cordero Patterson for a little bit there, later on in his career. So, yeah, I think on a 1-year deal, McKinnon could really add a nice element of speed out of the backfield for the Browns, this new, passing-focused offense that we want to implement this year.
I think, I think some people might think if we're interested in Jerick McKinnon, we're talking about him to be our Kareem Hunt now. Now, I don't think we're looking for him to be, Jerome Ford's going to be the Kareem Hunt. Jerick McKinnon's going to be that third down back that gets 6 or 7 touches. You know what I mean? And 4 of them are catches out of the backfield, that kind of thing. I think he'd fit nicely. Stefanski likes the screen game, and the screen game kind of struggled a little bit last year. But he's been big in the screen game since he's come to Cleveland. I think Jerick McKinnon could fit nicely into that.
Yeah, I'm with you. The last thing I really saw about it was he said he felt kind of disrespected about the market. So I don't think there's really a huge market for him. And people are saying, he should just go back to Kansas City on a really cheap contract. There's kind of been speculation that him and Thornhill are kind of talking, and Thornhill's trying to recruit him to Cleveland. It's like how he did with Mecole Hardman. So, it's crazy because these guys aren't similar, but I always think of Duke Johnson, somebody like that third down guy. I know this is going back a long time now. You new Browns fans don't even know this guy, but somebody like that, somebody a third down guy, can go and run a little 8-yard out and he's still very, very fast. Like he hasn't lost a step for being, in his 30s. He is very explosive. He was in an explosive offense also, something to keep in mind. But I'm not saying the Browns could be, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City-esque, but man, like there can be some, nice weapons, and he would be a nice fit.
One thing to keep an eye on too is he was in Minnesota when Stefanski was the quarterback's coach.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's at least a tie.
Mm-hmm.
So between that, the Thornhill thing, that's something to keep an eye on. And again, I think he'd fit nicely into that third down screen back kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
More Browns player news this week. It was falsely reported on Twitter that Greg Newsome got a new agent and he wanted out of Cleveland. Then that was debunked. But I just want to talk are you concerned at all with Newsome? He seems pretty committed to Cleveland. Like he kind of took over Jarvis's charity softball game, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And he seems, at least everything I can tell, he seems pretty all in on Cleveland.
The only thing I'll say is when there's smoke, and there's been, I feel like for like a year now, there's been a lot of smoke. Like, I don't want to play, you've heard things like he's not interested in playing the slot. He wants to play outside, opposite Denzel. I think what happened was he really, he changed agents. I think that he really kind of had some interest in maybe getting out. I think people sat him down. I think Thornhill's been on Twitter just talking about Newsome's not going anywhere. He's my guy. He's staying here. And even when it was speculated that, he might be a trade asset for maybe like a Jerry Jeudy. So I think what happened was people sat him down. I think Thornhill probably got in his ear, maybe even like coaching, and just said, hey, this is what your role is going to be. Obviously, he got a new agent. He's with Rosenhaus now. And I think they all sat down and I think that he just didn't want to feel like he was going to be not even undervalued, but he wasn't going to be a big part of what they were wanting to do. And I think they sat him down and said, hey, you're going to be a part of this and you are going to be a factor.
Here's the thing too, is the money's on the outside. And at the end of the day, it's a business. He wants to he's better at the outside than he is in the slot. And he knows that, and we all know that. And two, if you play him on the inside and he doesn't play as well because it's not his natural position, you're costing the guy a bunch of money. And he knows this. And so he wants to go back outside where the money is and where he played awesome as a rookie. We were all super impressed with Greg Newsome as a rookie playing on the outside. So I feel like he probably talked to Coach Schwartz too, and that's already a good sign of Schwartz early. He can he's that player's coach who can just talk to a guy and be like, hey man, just calm down. It's going to be all right. But no, everything I've seen on Twitter and online from Greg Newsome, he's all in on Cleveland. So we saw a guy a few years ago, there was speculation he wanted to trade, then he demanded a trade. Now he's third highest paid tight end in the league or something on the Browns. Yeah. So I think, the biggest thing I think is hiring Rosenhaus just kind of has a reputation of once he gets his, grips on a guy, it's give him the biggest thing, give him exactly what they want or he's leaving. He just kind of has that reputation. So I'm happy to see that he's still going to be in Cleveland because I think the combination of him and Ward and Emerson and then Thornhill back there and AJ Green, the Browns defensive backfield is athletic, fast. They got some size back there with Delpit. They can do some things in the back end with some of the guys we have.
This episode is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks is rewriting the book on burgers with an all-new handmade texture for the juiciest homemade burgers you've ever tasted. Their pure ground burgers are made from single cuts of real, aged Omaha steaks. These are truly steaks on a bun. Filet mignon, ribeye, New York strip, sirloin, and even brisket burgers. Now is the time to experience the exclusive Burger Perfection flight for just $79.99. Go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS at checkout and get an extra $20 off your order plus free shipping. You'll get 4 of each pure ground burger so you can sample all the steak on a bun greatness. These burgers are crafted for a juicier, more tender experience, making your mouth water with every single bite. Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com, use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS at checkout. You get $20 off the Burger Perfection flight plus free shipping. Discover your new burger obsession. Minimum order may be required.
John, before I move on, did you have anything you want to say on Newsome? Or are you good?
Well, you summed it up so nicely. I was just nodding my head. Like,
okay. So, and then last player I want to talk about was he's requested a trade from Tampa Bay's linebacker Devin White. I know pretty much every Browns fan would love for us to trade for this guy. I just don't know if we'll trade for. I don't know if we'll give up what it would take to get him, and then two, I don't know if we would pay him what he wants because of the position he plays. Based on this front office's outlook at the position, I just don't know if it's going to happen. But man, I would take him in a heartbeat. If you watch any Tampa Bay games, it's him and Levante David. They changed the game.
Yeah.
So I would love to see this guy in a Browns uniform.
I mean, he's a stud, and he's everywhere. He literally, we have a buddy, and he said, this guy's requested a trade. It's exciting, but the only problem is he's a first-round pick from, 3-4 years ago? I think he came out in 2019. They're going to want some return on this guy. If they even trade him, I think they'd be crazy to trade him. I know he's getting ready to come up on a contract, but I think you'd have to be giving up probably a pretty decent amount. And then that next contract, which he's probably going to want pretty soon as he gets into Cleveland, they're saying it's probably going to be like 4 years, $84 million. Like he's going to reset linebacker contract.
Look at what Roquan Smith just got.
Yeah, exactly. They're saying like 4 years, $84 million, 20. I think it's like 20 something a year, 20 million something a year. So it's a lot of money for a linebacker. Now, like he's worth it, but it's kind of crazy. His PFF grades aren't that good. Like as far as like, he's great at, getting at the quarterback, but the other stuff it's kind of rough.
Here's PFF is one of those things and we use it to talk about players but PFF is some stuff it's all right at, and some stuff it's like, PFF tried to tell me Malcolm Smith was like a top 10 linebacker a couple of years ago. And it's just like, and I'm watching games, I'm like, no, he's not. He's not even the 10th best linebacker in this game right now. So you got to take PFF stuff with a grain of salt, in my opinion. If you just turn on a Tampa Bay game and watch Devin White play football, the guy plays at a high level.
Yeah, I think with like the PFF grades, you kind of just have to look at the stats and try to interpret where the grade's coming from. I think if his grades aren't that great, Justin, I don't know. I don't have them in front of me what they are, but his missed tackle rate's a little high.
Yeah, missed
tackles are from his rookie year, 11.7, 9.7, 10.5, 8.1%. Like around the 10%'s not, and higher is not good. Yeah. But he doesn't really miss a lot of games.
Last year.
He missed what?
16 missed tackles last year.
Okay.
So like less than one a game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like I watched what's his name? Matt Wilson miss 16 a game.
Those are two different guys though, bro. You can't, I feel like you can't even put them in the same conversation.
You know what I mean though? But that's the linebacker play we're used to watching. So this would be an upgrade over anything we've had in the recent past.
I just pulled it up. Mac Wilson's missed tackle rates were up around 20, so they're just a little bit worse.
But what were you gonna say, John?
Yes, like, do we see Andrew Berry deviating from his typical, approach to linebacker? Because if not, this trade's not going to happen.
Well, is it Andrew Berry that doesn't prioritize linebacker, or was it Joe Woods influencing that? You know what I mean? Does Jim Schwartz come in and say linebacker's more important in my scheme? I mean,
Jim Schwartz came in and we went out and got some defensive tackles. So if Jim Schwartz is what it takes, and we end up, putting more emphasis on linebacker, I would love to see this trade. And like you said a million times, Blake, it's not our money. So there would be, I think linebacker is still a little bit of a question mark.
Oh, for sure.
Getting a playmaker of that caliber eliminates a lot of question marks. Our defense would be not only good on paper, I don't know how it could be bad on the field.
You would think.
You'd have a leader basically at every level of the defense. An elite leader, like at every level of the defense.
Yep. So it'd be interesting to watch. If I put a probability on this, I would say it's low, but it's still something fun to look at and speculate about. if you're Tampa Bay, I guess before we wrap this thing up, I'm guessing I wanted to talk because you said you thought they'd be dumb if they to trade him.
Yeah.
If you're Tampa Bay, are you in a rebuild?
I don't know. I mean, they still
got Rashad White.
Yeah.
If your offensive line's healthy, you still got some good offensive linemen.
Weapons.
You still got Godwin. You still got Mike Evans.
Yes.
But it's just your quarterback is such a question mark. It's like I don't know what they do. They're in a very weird spot because the NFC sucks too. At least in terms of quarterback play. I mean, there's not a lot of. Yeah. The Saints got Carr now.
They got Carr. Yeah.
And Carolina's going to have what? Probably
Stroud or Young.
Bryce Young, Stroud, yeah.
A rookie and who's the last team in their division?
Atlanta.
They got Desmond. He basically isn't a rookie.
So, I mean, depending on, what is it, Kyle Trask? Or no, it's Baker.
Yeah. Baker and Kyle Trask are the quarterbacks right now.
So can Baker take you to the playoffs in that division with those weapons? I mean, he might be able to.
Yeah,
because you might only need to get 7 wins. I don't think Baker's a playoff level quarterback, but he can get you 7 wins with that roster around you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. And then, do you want to be the team that gets 7 wins and make the playoffs? Because then you don't put yourself in any kind of position to get a quarterback in the following draft. You know what I mean? You're just always going to be right there in the middle. So it'll be interesting to see what Tampa Bay does.
We're missing a couple first-round picks still this year, next year. What is Devin White going for, you think, in a trade?
I don't know.
Second, and like a fifth.
Think a second, fifth gets him?
I mean, he was the 5th overall pick in 19.
I don't think you're giving up. I don't think he's going to go for a first, just based on what I've seen in the past. You know what I mean? Like
maybe a late first, like we're talking like pick like 25 or later or something. A second, it better be like a top 10 pick in the second. You're not getting them for the 60th pick in the draft.
Well,
you know what I mean? So either that or it's going to be a second and you're going to give up a good player with it. That kind of thing. Maybe like a second, fifth and a pretty good player. And then you're going to have to bring him in and pay him. So, well, we'll see. It'll be interesting. It's fun to talk about. But I have a sneaky suspicion we're rolling with Sione Taki and that kind of thing into this.
Anthony Walker.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll see. But
real quick, you guys don't want Cam Newton?
Oh yeah, I did want to talk.
We do have to talk. We do have to talk about this.
So I saw this. If you had to pick right now to who you want to be your backup, your number 2, would you take Josh Dobbs or Cam Newton?
Josh Dobbs all day. And I don't even feel like it's even that close of a decision. Like, we can go back a year and we can pretty much play the same video and I'm like, I'm not interested in Cam Newton. I'm not interested in like what he brings as far as his legs. To me, like, the legs are kind of gone and the arm is gone, and then he's removed basically a season now. So for me, I liked Dobbs when he came in, and then you saw what he did with Tennessee. It wasn't like he was terrible when he started for Tennessee. I mean, he's not going to go out there and light you up, but he's going to make very good decisions. He can run your team. He can run your offense. And if we need him to come in, the scary thing is Deshaun Watson has had some like ACL injuries. And for me, like, if you're banking on Cam Newton to take you the rest of the way and into the playoffs, I'm not wishing that, but I'm saying, like, give me Dobbs over Cam Newton all day.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Dobbs played decent for Tennessee.
Yeah.
They didn't have any weapons for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he hadn't been on the team very long. I love Cam Newton back in the day. Like, I was a big time kid. I loved him in college. I loved him in the pros when he was MVP. Like, I loved Cam Newton, but he's done. When he said there isn't 32 mother effers better than me, yes, there is. There's probably like 50, because like you're done, man. And I know it's go play in the XFL. If you still really want to play football and you just have that drive to compete, go play in the XFL, because
Improve the NFL ball.
Yes, because the NFL it's done. I can't throw anymore.
Take the lower pay and just try to sign on with somebody as like a goal line running back specialist, because the last time you played a full season was 2020, played 15 games, and you only threw 8 touchdowns the whole season and 10 picks. It was horrible. I mean, I remember we talked about this a lot on this show. Like it was bad to watch. It was like, oh my gosh. I mean, this guy's playing you got to be able to throw at this position.
It was another thing. I mean, he had no weapons again. It was up in New England. They had nobody. But
if you watched him.
Yes. It was bad. And I don't think he could carry, like you said, the legs. I don't think he has it would be goal line. That's where you're running him, maybe it's goal line. He's not, breaking 1 for 40 like he used to. Right. So it sucks because I am a huge fan of Cam Newton, but he's done. It's go play in the XFL. I'll watch you in the XFL and I'll be a big fan, but I'll have Josh Dobbs be our backup.
If somehow he is able to go back to 2016 Cam Newton, give me that all day. I think those days are well behind him.
Correct. But anything else? By the way, we lost John. It looks like he's trying to jump back in. He's out. There he is. John's out in Amish country, so the fact that he even has any kind of internet at all is impressive.
Or electricity.
He's doing this by candlelight. So, well, John, you just missed it. We're going to wrap up this episode, but we appreciate you being here. But if you guys want to see more of John, jump into the Dog Pack. You can watch him on the After Hours episode today.
Don't I?
Yeah. So anything else you guys want to touch on? I think we've covered pretty much everything from the past week.
I wanted to quickly say the Ravens suck.
Yeah, I could do a whole episode making fun of them because some of their their one fan is trying really, really hard to sell the fact that they're going to be good still, and it's laughably bad right now. They're all it's borderline dumpster fire in my opinion.
It's getting there.
It's getting there. So it's hilarious to me. It's hilarious. So on that note, we will wrap this thing up. Again, we appreciate you guys being here. If you want to watch the After Hours, jointhedogs.com, become a Dog Pack member. Again, if you have an extra 99 cents or it's like $10.80 a year to spare and you like the show, jump in, become a YouTube member. It's only $10 to you, but it's a new camera for us. So help us out. Help out. We like putting out this content. We like doing the show. So if you guys like it and you want to support us, check that out. Again, check out Omaha Steaks. Any other sponsors am I missing? This is I'm putting some of this at the end so people quit complaining about all the times where we're talking.
It might be fun just real quick to mention Fansided and Dog Pound Daily.
Oh yeah. Have we done that yet? Have we made an official announcement on the episode?
You did.
I don't know. We won't count this as
said something about it.
Yeah, so if you guys are still watching, if you haven't turned this off yet, we're the official podcast of Dog Pound Daily. So that is very cool for us, and we would not be the official podcast of Dog Pound Daily if not for you, the people who are still listening, even at the very end.
Exactly.
So, yes. So we appreciate you guys more than you will ever know. Are we official with Homage now also?
Homage. Yeah.
Homage. I thought that was a silent H. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's homage. Like Amish, but homage.
Either way, man.
Yeah, John lives in Amish country. But no, so there are a lot of cool things happening for the show. And it's all because you guys listen to us, even when we're just rambling at the end. So we appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the support you guys have given us for going on 4 years now. So give yourselves a pat on the back. And thank you for being here. And we will see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.